Hi, my name is Lloyd Grades. I'm the volunteer and page supervisor here at the Grandview Heights Public Library. I also do a number of programs and youth services. I'm most known for our Dungeons and Dragons Club. I want to thank you guys for coming to watch today. We do our weekly book talk here on our Facebook page. This happens every Thursday at 2 p.m. I've got 2 stacks of books here. Kind of can't see, but I'll show them to you in a moment. One is for grades 4 through 6. The other is primarily 7 through 12. And so we're going to go through and you can discuss these books. And these books can be found here in our library in what we refer to as our basement area. So there we go. All right, let's get started. This is the first book I have. Right here, it's Patina. It's the second book in the Track series by Jason Reynolds. This is a fiction book, so prose fiction. It's the sequel to Ghost, and I really have to say I'm really enjoying Jason Reynolds' book. In the past few years, he has really become nationally, he was nationally recognized before as an author, but he's really just achieved a new level of attention. For a number of his books. The first book I read by him was Miles Morales. As you know, the African Hispanic Spider-Man. I think Jen did a review on that earlier this year. If not, I know she already did the first book in Ghost. That's another reason I picked the sequel. Also, I have a background in track and field as well. I just love this book. It as a cross-country track runner, he really nails all the little nuances of what it's like to be a runner, both what you have to do, the verbiage, as well as the mentality of what it's like to be a runner. I also like this because I have 2 nieces. I can recommend this because it has strong powerful female role models. The main character, Patina, is female. She is the fastest runner on the team. And I like how just even in the introduction right here, it says she runs for her team, especially her friends who are newbies to the team. She runs for her little sister. She runs for herself. She runs for her family. She runs for her mother. And all the different reasons why she runs for them. Just make up the story and all the things she has to go through. And she's at a new school, so she has all the trials and tribulations of that while being on the track team. In this track team, they're going for the Junior Olympics. Yes, they all have a shot at the Junior Olympics. And so there's a certain amount of dedication and also pressure that they have to go through. And this one I just read through and loved it. Couldn't put it down. So there you go. This one I would recommend for grades 4 through 6. Of course, anybody in grades 7 through 12, you can read anything 4 through 6, of course. So there you go. I'm above grade 12 and I loved it, so recommend it for those. Our next book is Black Canary Ignite. It is a graphic novel. Once again, this book is for grades 4 through 6. It's written by Meg Cabot. She's probably best known for the Princess Diary book series, as well as you know, the Princess Diaries later got made into 2 movies by Disney. So, and then a lot of people were like, oh, it's based on a book, I'll go read it. So she is an excellent young reader as well as teen writer. And once again, I've had young nieces and other people who have read Princess Diaries. They loved it. I'm a big comic book guy, and I'm more Marvel than DC, but I am DC. I do support DC. It's just I fell in love with Marvel first, And but Black Canary is one of my favorite female characters, and this one I thought was a real interesting take on the character because it doesn't start her out in a traditional superhero way. It's more she's in junior high, beginning of high school. It never really says, but we pick up on that. And it's kind of her origin story as she's coming into her powers. So, and she's also in a punk rock band with her two best friends, and they're trying to get ready for the talent show as her powers are emerging. And then, of course, a mystery happens, and I don't want to give too much away on that in case you read the book. But I just felt it was great because as a longtime reader of DC Comics, there were a number of Easter eggs in there that I felt paid homage to the traditional comics. At the same time, this was completely original, completely fresh, completely new beginning for the character. And so you don't have to read anything before this, and you can just jump right in. And I really got it. And it's illustrated by Kara McGee. She's just done a number of youth books as well as comic books in the industry. She's an Eisner Award, she's an Eisner nominee, I'm sorry. And the Eisners are kind of like, if comic books were movies, the Eisners are like the Oscars of the comic book industry. But it's just really good, like, right there. That's just like beautiful illustrations right there. And I like how even they use font and coloring. So like right there, you can see the main character. So as her powers are activated, you can see the sound waves, since her powers are all vocal, but also it changes from the black and white word balloons to purple and larger white in a different font. So just, even visually, little things like that they added in, which I just thought were really cool. So, and once again, I can recommend this to my nieces because the main character is a strong, positive female role model. And, similar to Patina, you see her going through the trials and tribulations of, navigating school and friendships and homework, and then also she's got to start juggling, discovering that she's a superhero, and she has a legacy to live up to as well. But I don't want to say more on that because then I'd be giving away some of the story. So our next one, and as you can see, there's a theme going on here. I am a big comic guy, so anything comic book related, I am immediately like, ooh, let me check that out. But this one is called Conquest. The whole thing is about these two twins right here, and they are trying to ditch their older sister, who has been put in charge of babysitting them. And it turns out that their parents are actually creators of comic book, and that's been adapted into a television and animated show. And so, of course, they've grown up in the comic and pop culture worlds, and especially the comic convention scene. And as somebody who used to work in the comic industry, I really related and connected to this. Once again, just like Patina, I felt the author, who herself has also done the comic book circuit, did the terminology, and then also just in describing the convention hall, really brought forth and captured what it's like to be at a comic book convention. So there were times I really felt like I was in the comic book convention hall, while I was reading this. But anyway, the twins decide to ditch their older sister because the whole reason of the Conquest is they're going through this adventure, and kind of like a scavenger hunt to find this quest and go through everything. And along the way, of course, they get separated and they meet new people, as well as you have villains of the comic book scene, or the Comic Con scene, I should say. But they discover a number of things about themselves and about each other, both as all three of them do as siblings, but especially the twins. And it's a boy and girl twin, not identical twins, but fraternal twins, But one of the best things on that is that it also has strong positive models for LGBTQ characters, because we meet them in there, as well as showing that you have girls as well as guys going on in that. So there you go. And this would be for grades 4 through 6. It is a fiction book. This was my favorite out of that bunch, so I really can't recommend it enough. So there we are. Last but not least, in our 4 through 6 area is the complete cookbook for young chefs. This is from the American Test Kitchen. This, of course, comes from the TV show America's Test Kitchen. So this was great. I actually went through and did a few of these recipes, and they're really easy, really fun to make. I don't consider myself a cook or chef yet. I had a great time and all that. One of the most unique recipes that I tried, well, not unique, I should say, I tried, being originally growing up in the South, is their sweet iced tea. So I'm a big critic on that. I did try this. It was pretty good. Of course, you know, nothing's as good as Southern sweet tea, but it's good sweet tea. And one that I should have marked it on this page, but yeah, one somebody else wanted to try, but we never got around to it. My nieces and nephews right there, was apple cider glazed pork chops. And we just, you know, didn't have time to do it, but it always looked good. But if you enjoy cooking, if you're into food, if you're a foodie as they call you, or you just want to learn how to cook, this would be a book I would recommend. This is one of our nonfiction books, and it's just really good. And then try out the show as well. And we actually, I believe, upstairs have some of the episodes on tape, or on disc, I should say. The next stack I have is for our 7th through 12th group. And once again, you'll see a theme going on here. This is a fiction book. It's called Comics Will Break Your Heart. It's by Faith Erin Hicks. She's the author of Zombie Boys and Adventures of Superhero Girl, which has won the Eisner, which I explained earlier. This is kind of a Romeo and Juliet, and if you know anything about comic book history and creator rights, this is a really good book for you. The main character, Miriam, she is the granddaughter of the artist of the Tomorrow Men, and in this book, the Tomorrow Men is considered the greatest comic book ever made, and it's also the most popular. And she runs into a boy, Will is what he's called. It's W-E-L, so a couple times I kept saying Well instead of Will. Yeah, his full name is Weldon, so there you go. But he kept saying you pronounce it as Will. And anyway, they're kind of a Romeo and Juliet in that Will is the grandson of the writer of Tomorrow Men. And the writer had the rights and sold the rights. And of course, so as the Tomorrow Men becomes more popular and they're making movies and toys, his family gets all this money from it. And Miriam's family sold the rights years ago, and they got a paycheck, and that was about it. And so there's some, you know, disgruntled feelings between the two families of one family is getting rich off of a creation, and the other family is not seeing any money. And of course, they meet by accident and get to know each other, and then they find out each other's legacies and who they really are. And it becomes very much a star-crossed lover story along with comic book history involved. So it's just really good. And like I said, this is for our 7th through 12th group. And this was probably, aside from Patina and Conquest, this was probably my favorite book out of the books I'm showing you today. So right here we have our nonfiction book. This is Descent on the Bench. It is biography of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I picked this book actually before we got reports of her passing, because my wife and I are just big RBG fans. Last year for Christmas, I gifted my wife with a number of RGB books. But this is an excellent biography on it. This is for our 7th through 12th grades. It's written by Victoria Ortiz, who was a former dean at a number of law schools, predominantly the University of California at Berkeley. And it just goes through and it just shows how wonderful RBG's life was. The author contacted the family, had got wonderful photos throughout her whole life, and just also, but it also showed the times she grew up in, what society was like, why she took on the causes that she took on, and kind of the crusade that she ended up going on, not only for women's rights, but for human rights, everybody's rights, for equality. And one of the things I like about it being the son of a lawyer too is the appendixes here in the back. Let me get to that. So like you'll have the appendixes and they go through Bill of Rights, but then they later in each chapter you'll have the footnotes, and then they also cite predominant court cases that RGB was a part of. And to me, I thought that was very interesting, and it also helped me understand certain legal terms a lot better. So, once again, you'll see a theme. This is Batman Nightwalker, written by Marie Lu. This is for our 7th through 12th area. It's fiction. Marie Lu is the author. She's probably best known for the Young Elites and Legend series. This book is also part of it's the first book actually in the DC Icon series. That series is designed for tweens and teenagers. But then at the same time, you don't have to read the books in order. You can pick up any one of them and read them in any order. And that's one of the things I also like about the Icon series. So you don't necessarily have to read them in order. This one, though, it takes Bruce Wayne right when he's graduated from high school, but he hasn't quite left for college yet. And he goes through this kind of Batman-esque adventure based on some of the training he's already done or things he's pursued. And he has to solve a number of crimes against a group that is targeting Gotham's elite. And some of the elite, try to help society. Others are trying to profit off society. So then he's at a dilemma of who of the elite do I help and who don't I help, or, what should I do? And I just really liked it. I thought it was really good. I like the young, beginning superhero stories. So, and last but not least is How to Talk to Girls at Parties. This is a graphic novel. It is for our 7th through 12th range. This is written by Neil Gaiman. It's actually based on his short story, which got nominated for a Hugo in 2007. And the Hugo is like the highest award you can get for a science fiction or fantasy story. And it was later adapted into a movie as well as this graphic novel. It's illustrated by Brazilian twins, Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba, and they've done a number of things and are Eisner Award winners. And it's just wonderful because it's about two guys, and they end up going to this party, but they end up at the wrong party. And the one guy who's kind of an introvert, very shy around girls, ends up throughout the party meeting these 3 girls, and they kind of teach him what it's like not only to talk to girls, but just talk to people and socialize and get to know others and know yourself. So I love this one. I'm just, as you can tell, big comic book guy. So anyway, well, that's what we have for this week. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was my first one. So I hope to see you guys again. And tune in next week, because like I said earlier, we do these every Thursday at 2 o'clock on our Facebook page. And please come into the library, check these out. And of course, we have some of these we have through our digital, so you can get them through our app and through the consortium as well. All right, take care.